estate history lesson that we are all living in is continuing. Anthony Lamacchia here with Lamacchia Realty, here to talk to you about South Florida. I want to do a little 2021 review, talk about where we are now, and talk about what I expect for the rest of the year. As many of you know, Lamacchia Realty entered South Florida back in the fall of 2020, and business has been very good for us down there, and we are really in the midst of experiencing a large growth spurt. We're opening our first storefront office there, or we did open our first storefront office there a few weeks ago, and we have a grand opening in a few weeks. And we just launched a very exciting television ad up here showing off that we're down there. And it's amazing to see. The reason I'm talking about these things is it's amazing to see the continued demand from people up north here in New England, I'm here now, that want to be down in Florida. It's incredible. We ran this ad over the weekend up here, and you literally can't imagine how many people we heard from. We're going to put a link to that ad, a YouTube link to that ad in the comments so you can take a peek at it. But it goes to show what home buyers, condo buyers are dealing with in South Florida. They are competing with not just locals. I mean, up here, Massachusetts, New England, of course we have people that come in from other states, but it's minimal. It's a minimal percentage of the buyers. And that's why the local buyers, as competitive as it is, they're only competing with one another. When you live in South Florida, you're competing with local buyers, plus people from all over New England, New York, the Chicago, Midwest, and now even California. That's something else we're seeing. So it's an interesting time to be a home buyer in South Florida. I also want to talk about home sellers. Obviously a good time to be a home seller in South Florida, but it's a little tricky out there. If you're if you're a seller who's also buying, it's a little bit scary, right? You're thinking, well, if I list, where am I going to go? And that's part of what is making inventory lower. It's like I said 2 years ago, and everybody kind of looked at me funny with a frown. I said, the lower inventory gets, the lower inventory gets. And people said, what do you mean by that? Well, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. The lower it gets, the more people that say, well, yeah, I want to list, but where am I going to go? So that's why we're seeing inventory so incredibly low all over South Florida. And I'm going to show you in a few minutes, I'm going to show you a whole report compared to where we were a year ago. And that's why it's a little bit complicated. But I want to remind sellers and buyers, whether you're buying with Lamacchia Realty or selling with Lamacchia Realty or the company, as long as you are with a realtor that is trained and that is savvy and helping people buy and sell at the same time, there's no reason that you can't do it. There's many different things we can do by way of contingencies and disclosures and getting your home completely ready to list, sometimes not listing, but getting it totally ready to list, but stopping just short and getting the people pre-approved or pre-committed, getting pictures done, MLS sheet built out. There's many little things you can do along the way. So I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to also talk about the new condo rules that are going in effect. Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac came out with some new rules. Fannie's went in effect about 2 weeks ago, and Freddie's are going in effect later this month. But for all intents and purposes, they're in effect. And it's with regard to condominiums that are 5 units or more. This is a result of what happened in Surfside. It's very sad what happened in Surfside, but what happened there over the summer made the mortgage companies say, whoa, should we be forcing these buildings to get checked? Should we be more careful of structural things that are going on before we go lending money, before we go backing loans? Remember, Fannie and Freddie are not a direct lender. They are the ones who buy the loan and insure the loan after the loan is sold. So there's a bit to talk about there. I have a questionnaire here, and I'm going to get into that. I also want to talk about how that's going to affect values, because now that there's so few single families, people are running to condos, and they're running to more 2, 3, and sometimes 4-bedroom condos, larger condominiums, because they want to be on the ocean, right? We're going to get into that as well. But let's start with the housing report for 2021, a review. I'm not going to go through every word of it, but our marketing team, Cole Gugaro, led by Cole Gugaro, our marketing director, just did a phenomenal job. It's very detailed, and she and I have been doing reports together for years, and I just want to show you what is in this report. We're, of course, going to put a link in the comments, but if you look at this report, it's very interesting. Home prices rise 29% in South Florida. So to be clear, that's Tri-County. That's, West Palm, Fort Lauderdale, Miami-Dade, so Broward. You go right down Palm Beach County, etc. But take a look at this. Home sales in Broward in 2021. Well, as I've said before, the color in 2021 for all our reporting is turquoise. Look at home sales in 2021. They were up every single month except, well, let's see here, October and December. But even then, they were up a lot. So in the 3 counties, I'm going to show you in a minute, over 100,000 sales. Incidentally, it's pretty funny. Massachusetts had over 100,000 sales. So a small state like Mass, or one state, is selling as many homes in a year as just South Florida, which I found very interesting. But stay with me here. So Broward County sales were up 28%. We talk about that right here. I'm going to actually go full screen just so you can see it. And single families were up 16%. Single family sales up 16%. Condos up 42%. So that's interesting what happened with condos. Remember what I talked about in the beginning of COVID? At first, people were scared of shared living. They were avoiding it. Then about a year and 3 months ago, I had said to you all, we're seeing a difference. People are getting back into condos. They're going to pick up. And sure enough, they picked up in a big way. And that's why condo sales were up 42%. Now you look at Miami-Dade, sales up every single month. Remember what I talked about, international buyers starting to come back into the market? Not like it was before COVID, but we are getting there. Obviously, Omicron, the variant, had a big impact here in December, which slowed things down across the country. We're even seeing that in the Northeast in a big way, where things are slow. But every property that's being listed is selling immediately. It's just very few are listing. And we're seeing that, kind of the holiday and winter effect even worse right now. So if we look here, overall sales in Miami-Dade up 49%, single families up 19, condos up 81, average 49. It goes right back to my point. People are after condos now big time. Palm Beach County, if you look here, look at this. Every month, just about it's up. Little lull there in the fall. But again, wasn't really a lull. Remember, in the fall of 2020, we were making up for virtually, I don't want to say no sales, very low amount of sales in the spring of 20. So the fall of 20 got exacerbated, blah, blah, blah. That's why that happened. Single family sales up 7% in Palm Beach County, 2021. Condo sales up 35%. Stay with me here. I know there's a lot to talk about, but this will teach you the market. Take a look at this. All 3 counties, we just looked at averages, okay? Look at 2021. Right across here, we saw growth in Broward. Oh, wait, did I say all 3? All 3 as we go. This first one is Broward. Look at that. We're bumping up on 500,000. Now I scroll down. So single family prices went from 530 to 668, and condo prices went from 247 to 296. That's incredible. Now look at Miami-Dade. I found this interesting. I was staring at this before I came on. I want to make sure you're all seeing it okay. Kind of interesting to see how prices went up a bit and then there was a little lull. Now remember, there's a delayed impact on when things close. So when you see a sale price, you have to know that 2 months before is when that negotiation happened, or a month before. But we finished the year, look at this, average prices in Miami-Dade County, 900,000. That is significant, okay? And look, 2 years ago, average prices were 500. This is incredible growth, and it's somewhat frustrating for buyers, but it's obviously good for homeowners and sellers. Look at that. Miami-Dade overall up 39%. Let's see here. Palm Beach County, prices up to 700. It gets to be a lot of information. All right, take a look at this. This is really what I want to show you. Inventory of homes for sale. Folks, inventory of homes for sale is always the number one indicator for what's to come. There's no, when people say to me, when COVID happened, I think that's when everybody really started realizing I might actually know what I'm talking about with housing stats. The whole reason that almost every one of my predictions was right is I'm always watching inventory on a weekly basis for 11 years. a weekly basis. So I look at where's inventory at, and that tells me what's going to happen with prices, okay? So if we look at inventory here, I'm going to bring it back up, okay? I'm going to jump over to that screen. Broward County, single family. Look at this. Turquoise line, 2021. Folks, right now, we're below 2,000 homes for sale in all of Broward. It's amazing. You go to Miami-Dade, 2,500 homes for sale, single families. Now you look at Broward, townhouse condo inventory, 3,000. So, folks, think how big Broward County is, okay? You add 3,000 and 2,000, you come up with 5,000. It's incredible. Then you look at Miami. Let's go down a little bit more. 2017, 2018, there were 16,000 condos and townhouses on the market. Right now, there's 6,000. So all these people that say things are going to crash, I don't know what planet you're on, but you can't have a crash when inventory is that low. The only way real estate crashes is when there is an oversupply of inventory. Will there be an adjustment at some point? Of course, but we're nowhere near that. Now look at this. Palm Beach County inventory. Single families, 2,000 homes for sale. Condos, townhouses, just under 2,000. So it's interesting how things are more on par with singles and condos as far as how many for sale, but in the entire county, there's 4,000. That's an amazing statistic. You can't have housing crash when it's that low. Homes listed for sale. This is the number of properties that were listed for sale during the year. Now, this is actually incredible. Focus with me here for a minute. I know it's getting to be deep with information, but I just want to explain this to you. You may see the statistics in Miami and say, well, Jesus, why are so few people listing? Wrong. 49,000 people listed in 2021. That's up from 43,000 in 2020, up from 46,000 in 19. More people listed, but what's happening? What's happening is the Pac-Man effect. People are eating up properties faster than they're coming on. Look at Broward, 46,000 listed. That's right on par with 2 years ago. Palm Beach, a little less, but we're talking peanuts. People are listing their homes. Now you look at pendings, okay? Contracts accepted. Cole lays this out so well. Every county, pending sales are up. Now the outlook for 2022. What we talked about here is what's going on with interest rates and what we expect with inventory. Let me bring the screen back to me. Okay. Let's talk interest rates for a minute. In August, I put out 2 predictions, okay? National predictions. I said next August, the August coming up, prices will be higher and interest rates will be higher. I am sticking to that prediction, and I will tell you 12 months from now, same thing. We're hovering around 3.5% interest rate, okay? The Fed has no choice, the Federal Reserve. They have to put interest rates up, short-term rates. When you hear in the news, I just want to remind everyone, when you hear in the news, the Federal Reserve is raising the benchmark interest rate by 0.5%. That is not a direct correlation to long-term rates, but they impact one another. It also comes down to bond buying and a whole plethora of other things. Just know that they're doing what they can to raise rates because they want to take some steam out of this incredible demand. And frankly, they need to. So you're going to see rates go over 4% this year. I'm certain of that. The only thing that would derail something like that is if there was another variant that, shut the whole economy down. But barring anything crazy like that, you're going to see rates go up. The thing is, you're not going to notice it because there's such an incredible amount of demand. I did this last week when I did an update for New England. We have this many buyers, folks, and we have this many sellers. Normally by summer, that starts to even a little. By this summer, maybe it'll even a little more. You're not going to see a case where it's going to turn into a buyer's market. You will not see a buyer's market in 2022, I guarantee you. But sellers, don't overplay your hand. This is not 1980. You're not going to fool people. When you list your home, list it at a competitive price because that's how you'll draw people in. Okay, when you work with a company like ours, you work with our realtors in South Florida. Those South Florida realtors, they have all the marketing power that our realtors up here have. We are obsessed with marketing. We're running television ads. We have billboard campaigns. We're kicking off a whole bunch of things. When you list with our realtors, everyone will know your home is for sale. And if you haven't heard me say that on TV yet, you will soon. When they're exposing that home better than anyone else, they're creating demand. More marketing equals more demand equals more money, okay? If every comp in your neighborhood is 9 to 950, list your home at 899, watch it sell. That's what I do when we're flipping properties in our development company. We're constantly pricing a little below what everything in the neighborhood shows us, okay? Don't overplay your hand, sellers. If you price too high, you will cost yourself money. Buyers, you have to accept the fact that you are not in the driver's seat. It is what it is, okay? If you work with a realtor, you get yourself in a position that you're ready to strike. You work with a realtor who can get you access to homes before they're listed, you're going to have an advantage. Our realtors down there in South Florida, or I could even say here in South Florida, though I'm not sitting there right now, they will get you access to properties before they're listed. Not every one of them, but a good portion of them. You've got to do that to get yourself an advantage. Now, let's talk about the condo regulations, what Fannie and Freddie did. Because of what happened in Surfside, Fannie and Freddie put out new national regulations. And basically what they said is they're asking people 3 questions up front in the initial questionnaire. So the initial condo questionnaire that used to go out to property management companies had, basic questions. Now they're being more strict. Are there any pending or active special assessments? Keep in mind, little condo lesson, when you've got a building with 20 units, 10 units, 4 units, 5 units, when work needs to be done, if there's not enough money in reserves, they have to do a special assessment. Okay, they go out, they get bids. Oh, we need $100,000 worth of work done. We only have $20,000 in the bank. I'm making up numbers. There's 100 unit owners. Okay, each unit owner's got to kick in $1,000. That's a special assessment. Sometimes it's paid over time. Sometimes people pay it at once. We have a property management company as well, and we deal with these kinds of things on both sides. That's one question. Are there any critical maintenance, material deficiencies, or significant deferred maintenance approved now or planned in the future? Bingo. That is the one they're really after. They want to know, are there any material deficiencies? Is there anything that's been deferred? What does that remind you of? I don't want to cause a controversy, but I think we all know by now that the condo association, and for some reasons, and also a lot of the owners at Surfside, they put off fixing structural items. And it's such a tragedy what happened. That's what the banks want to know. Are there any code violations or local government certifications the HOA has not satisfied now or in the last 5 years? Now they're doing these tests. Any building over 40 years, they need to get a certification, and then they're going to have to do it periodically. If there is a yes to any one of those questions, that's when this form comes in, okay? This form right here is going through Deferred Maintenance and Special Assessment Addendum. This addendum is only to be completed if there's evidence of significant deferred maintenance, special assessments, and or code violations, deferred maintenance. And they go into what those may be. Defects, substantial damage, blah, 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 things like that. Okay. Are the repairs 100% complete? And if not, are they paid for? There's specific questions. So home buyers and sellers, you need to be aware of that. As much as we're starting to see a run over to condos because there's a lack of single families, this is going to slow that run down a little bit. I don't really think we're going to notice because there's still so much demand, but buyers have got to be prepared that this stuff is going to come up. Sellers, you have to be prepared. And I am telling you, sellers now, don't get cocky. Yes, we're in a seller's market, but if you live in a building and they're not taking this stuff serious, or your property management company at your building is not taking this stuff serious, you will not sell. Okay? You have to make sure that they're handling this stuff appropriately, answering the questions correctly. If there are material defects or problems, they need to be taken care of. If there is resistance from other unit owners, rally your other unit owners and get them to work with you and work with the association to get it paid, get it fixed, whatever it may be, because you can literally destroy your own value if you become a building that Fannie or Freddie blackball essentially and say, we're not buying there. It really can be a problem. So take that stuff serious, and the same with buyers, because it will have an impact. I think that this will take a little bit of the wind out of the sails in the condominium growth in prices, particularly with the buildings on the water. I think, don't get me wrong, you're still going to see prices go up. It's still a seller's market for those, but it's going to take it down a little, and I think it already has, because any deals that are in the pipeline, any sales that are in the pipeline, those are being worked on right now, and condo associations are getting these questionnaires, and they're like, what's this? And then property management companies are saying to associations, well, hey, we're not doing all this work on these forms unless we get paid more. There's a lot of adjustments going on. Truth be told, it's worth it. Folks, I am this year's chairman of the Conventional Lending and Finance Committee for the National Association of Realtors. I'm flying to DC tomorrow, and we have committee meetings, and we're in touch with Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac on this. Okay, so I have a direct line into what's going on here. And I will tell you, although I think Fannie Mae could have done a better job with their rollout, I do agree with this. This is going to force condo associations and property management companies to take things more serious. It's also going to force owners of condos to do a better job, to take things more serious. You can't just push things off. When you own part of a condo, you are ultimately responsible, along with others, for what goes on outside of your walls. You are. That's how it works. So keep all of that in mind. Recap of 2022. You will see prices go up, and you will see interest rates go up. There has been a lull in the action, particularly with properties being listed since the holidays and with the virus going crazy here, but things are headed in the right direction. You're going to see a lot more properties getting listed in the months to come. If you're not already working with a La Macchia Realtor, whether you are up here in New England, whether you are in Florida, I don't care where you are in the country. We literally have clients from all over the country buying with our awesome realtors in South Florida. You need to get in touch with us. We'll take good care of you. That's all, my friends. Good luck home buying, home selling. And as long as nothing crazy happens, you will see me again in April. Thank you.